since we're on WWE and we're talking about legends and WrestleMania, we have the Hall of Fame coming up at WrestleMania 40. The Hall of Fame class of 2024. Right now, we have three people currently announced for the Hall of Fame. We got Bull Nakano, we got Paul Heyman, we got the U.S. Express. Bull Nakano, she was a big popular wrestler in Japan. She had her debut in WWF in 1994, I believe. She had a big rivalry with Alundra Blaze, who was known as Medusa in WCW. And they had a giant match for the championship, which is such a funny name, the Big Egg Wrestling Universe event in Tokyo, Japan. There's about 32,000 people there, which is crazy because you think like you see like these two women who were wrestling in the new era, new generation, and then like 2 years later you got, bras and panties and stuff like that. So just the for the American view of wrestling really changed. But yeah, she was a big influence on women's wrestling. There was a lot of people who came up after her, and even today, who are influenced by her. Beth Phoenix was a big one. In her recent matches, she had the streaks painted on her face, which was an homage to Bull Nakano. Her style was way ahead of its time in the 90s and late 80s. It was very hard hitting. It's someone I feel like that is comparable. It's kind of like Gunther. It felt like a legitimate strikes, like the way she lands and hits punches and takes punches. It gives off that aura of like a Gunther, of like, no nonsense, just like a professional, kind of wrestler.
Ass kicking.
Ass kicker. I mean, Bull Nakano. Did you guys know a lot about Bull Nakano, or is this like your introduction to her from the announcement?
It's more it's an announce or it's definitely an introduction for me at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard the name, and I know that she's inspired like plenty of the people that are currently in the locker room.
Yeah.
Other than that, like I haven't really gotten to watch too much of her work.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we were like 5 or 4 when she was big, and then she left not too long ago. Kept doing more stuff in Japan. Retired not too long ago. I feel like she's almost pushing 70, but she looks fantastic. I gotta say, I don't know what it is over there, but yeah, she looks great. She also looks nothing like what she used to look like, with like the mullet with the got to be glued or whatever it was, and
Paul
with the
Phoenix
face paint. Yeah, the Paul Phoenix haircut. She's now like a golfer.
Damn.
Really, really changed. But yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to just see her speech at the Hall of Fame. The one the moment that sticks out for me, because I saw her like create a wrestler in SVR 2006 when I was playing it in 06 and 07. I was like, who the hell is this? And I looked her up then around 06, 07. So that's how I knew her. But congratulations to her. And we have the U.S. Express, who was another tag team that didn't know too much about. They announced them this past week. I think it was on SmackDown, that the U.S. Express was going to go into the Hall of Fame. They're comprised of Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda. If you guys aren't aware, and if that doesn't ring a bell with the Windham and Rotunda, they are related to the late, great Bray Wyatt. Wyndham Rotunda. We just combine the two. So they originally formed in 1985 when they teamed up in the WWF. Both had successful single careers prior to teaming up. They both came from wrestling families. Wyndham was the son of Blackjack Mulligan and the brother of Kendall Windham, while Rotunda was the brother-in-law of Barry Windham and the father of Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas. If you guys don't know, they're also related. The U.S. Express, they found success in WWF, capturing the tag team titles not too long after they formed their team. They defeated the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov to win the titles on January 21st in 1985. And during their time as champs, the U.S. Express engaged in high-profile feuds with people like Sheik and Volkov and the Dream Team, which were comprised of Greg Valentine and Brutus the Barber Beefcake. And they were a top tag team for that short stint. They held the title for 138 days before they lost the titles to Valentine and Beefcake at WrestleMania 1, which is a feat in and of itself, being in the first WrestleMania. So that in and of itself should be, reason enough to go into the Hall of Fame. Not to mention, holding the titles for that long, but congrats to those fellas. I don't know if you guys have anything additional to add to these guys, but yeah, good on them. Good on
old school wrestling, some 80s tag.
Good old 80s wrestling.
I mean, I didn't know they were related to Bray Wyatt.
Yeah. The more you know. And the first person that WWE announced was Paul Heyman, who I'm going to assume is the headliner Hall of Fame person. There's always normally how they structure the Hall of Fame. You got historical figures, you got other people who are popular or well known, but then you have the main event person who just has a long time to do their speech. They did it with Rey Mysterio, they did it with The Undertaker. I think they did it with Goldberg, Rob Van Dam, Sting. A bunch of people. So you always have the top guys get a longer conversation. And Paul Heyman, I mean, as a manager, that's pretty impressive. I mean, he's done so much in his career. He was a promoter. He was a manager in World Championship Wrestling. He was in ECW as a manager and also as an owner. He managed, people like Stone Cold, The Undertaker, Brock Lesnar. I mean, it's insane. Now Roman Reigns, honestly, anything he touches seems to turn to gold. It's bananas. But with ECW, he started the promotion. I think it was the early 90s in Philadelphia, and ECW was known for its gritty hardcore style and innovative storytelling. He was crucial to ECW's success, and then after ECW's popularity waned, and then they got shut or bought out by WWE, he also became a on-screen talent in WWF. If you guys remember the Invasion angle, and then he became a commentator and behind-the-scenes roles with production and writing. I think his most notable is Brock Lesnar. Honestly, now I think Roman Reigns, the alliance with Roman Reigns is probably more well known now than Brock Lesnar. But let's open it up. What do you guys think about Paul Heyman being inducted into the Hall of Fame? What do you think about Paul Heyman in general?
I think it's great. I think another thing too about that gets looked over is that he was also a talent scout. He's kind of the first person to bring Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
A guy who we won't name, but also fit into that division along with Dean Malenko. Was also
the Canadian Crippler.
Yeah, he got his nickname in ECW.
Crispin.
So, yeah, Crispin. We'll just say it.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. You're not going to get shut down.
And yeah, just people like that, Rob Van Dam, Sabu, anybody that helping Stone Cold find that grit to him while his time in ECW.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where Brian Pillman also first turned into the loose cannon.
Mick Foley too, right?
He was already Cactus Jack, but he got to be a little crazier for a while.
He just developed it more.
Yeah.
ECW.
So I'm happy.
I mean, I'm a Paul Heyman guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
CM Punk. I forgot to say that. That's the other thing. CM Punk. He also did CM Punk. Jesus.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I've always enjoyed Paul Heyman as a character. Anytime he's on screen, anytime he opens his mouth, it's a good time.
He's just so like smart, and just the way that he speaks is so engaging. Like it doesn't sound like he's reading off a script at all. Like again, it's like one of those guys just understands. If he is reading off a script, he has a great memory and great delivery. But if it's just coming up from the top of his head, I mean, it's insane. And I always look forward to him speaking. So in this capacity where it's just going to be nothing but speaking and doing speeches, I think he's going to be giving a really um, just a really great speech. And Hall of Fame is like one of my favorite parts about the WrestleMania week, because I do enjoy, and I mean, I feel like you guys probably also enjoy just like podcasts and people telling stories about, their history and just recapping things and having conversations about topics or matches that we grew up with. So the concept of the Hall of Fame, where like they tell stories and you have all these current wrestlers and former wrestlers there, and now they've done it for a while with the audience, but I feel like they even expanded even more into like an arena style, like with a bigger crowd for the Hall of Fame. That just makes it even better, because you get the chants, you get the whole thing like that. That's going to be, and it's going to be in Philadelphia. Like that's going to be crazy, and that's a good spot to do Paul Heyman. But normally, yeah. Normally there are more than 3 people who are in the Hall of Fame. So who do we think is still going in the Hall of Fame in 2024? Who would you want to see go into the Hall of Fame, if you guys can remember? Because there have been so many people who have been in the Hall of Fame, but perhaps there's somebody that sticks out that hasn't been inducted.
They might have to give Paul E this much time. I don't know if they could fit anybody else.
Just gonna have him have a conversation for like an hour.
He might have to. I mean, even like with Rey Mysterio, Conan went for a while.
That's true. Yeah, Conan went for a while. Ric Flair was another one. They were like, "You got to wrap up," but he was like, "Nah, I'm still going.
Get the
This is
cane.
my time. I'm inducted, bitch." So yeah, I mean, there have been so many people who have been inducted. I mean, I'm trying to think, like, yeah, maybe like another female wrestler. I don't think Mickey James hasn't been inducted, so I'd like to see Mickey James get inducted into the Hall of Fame. If you've done like people like Beth Phoenix, you've done Tori Wilson, uh, China, she's of that era too. You've done Trish Stratus, Ivory got inducted.
Yeah.
I feel like Mickey James is definitely at the top of my list.
He's
AJ Lee, that's another one.
Maybe they'll induct CM Punk.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think about that. I feel like they could. John Cena, I don't think they're going to be doing for a while. The Rock hasn't been inducted yet, has he?
Kurt Angle.
I'm trying to think if The Rock was inducted now, because I know they inducted Stone Cold Steve Austin, but maybe because The Rock was still active, they didn't feel like he needed that. But there were like plenty of guys, like again the Bella Twins. Like I still don't understand like why they got inducted that early. I don't mind them being inducted. I think they definitely deserve, just based purely even from like the entrepreneurship that they did, expanding into these other things like reality TV and tying it in with WWE's other products. But yeah, definitely AJ Lee, Mickey James. I could see The Rock maybe after all of this stuff is done. The whole bloodline story, the entire feud. He's going to be one that I want to see inducted.
Was Kurt Angle inducted or no?
He was in 20. It was like 2019. DX was 2019. Goldberg was 2018. Kurt Angle was 2017. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, Kurt Angle was the headliner there. You got Teddy Long, DDP was inducted. Beth Phoenix was the same year. Same with Rick Rude. Yeah, the Dudley Boys. I mean, like a lot of people that we know have been inducted so far. Fucking Kid Rock was inducted in 2018.
Yeah, we need a celebrity, don't we? Who's the
Mark
celebrity
Henry got
inductee?
the nod. I don't know if they always do celebrities. They don't always do celebrities. So they did DX 2019, and then immediately the next year they did the NWO. Yushin Thunder Liger, he got inducted. But yeah, I definitely think those three would be next if they're trying to even it out and have, you know, females and males. Definitely looking forward to that. But